Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good evening, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Right from the heels of the French Open tennis, we move on to the U.S. Open. That one ends on Father's Day. This is actually a very historic one. It's the 125th U.S. Open at the historic Oakmont in Pennsylvania. It's hosting its 125th U.S. Open. I believe it's 10th time they're hosting it. Like we always do, we talk about. I just want to get into a couple of things that I read about the Oakmont itself and some of the history behind it. But we do know that Rory McIlroy won the Masters, Scottie Scheffler won the PGA. So two more left. We got the U.S. Open. Giving you the floor, give your initial impressions, and we quickly dive into your favorites and then sleepers.
Yeah, so like you said, you did a nice recap of the first two majors of the year. We had numbers 1 and 2 in the world, Rory and Scottie winning it. Here we are now with the U.S. Open. This is probably the toughest test of golf for the players in the majors every year. As far as just between the length of the course, the speed of the greens, the height of the rough. This is a course. This is a tournament where the greenskeepers really try to take it to the players. Try to get the revenge, so to speak, on all the different professionals. Sometimes over the years we've seen scores that are nobody shoots below par at the U.S. Open. We've seen winning scores that are over par routinely sometimes, or we see maybe only 3 or 4 players who barely break par. So, and this is one of those courses. From what I've been listening to the last few days, it's a devilish course, and it's actually I just read today that. They've actually the members of the country club of Oakmont. They demand that it be so tough on them. It's so ridiculously hard that the greenskeepers and the professionals who set up the course even have to scale it back a little bit for the U.S. Open because it is so ridiculously difficult even for the members. So the green speeds are up to like 14. They say on the stint meter, which is much faster than the Masters and the other majors. So, and it's just huge sloping greens from what I've read and I watched over on the Golf Channel earlier. So crazy sloping greens that are massive complexes. It's a long course, I think playing over 7,300 yards, par 70. It's characterized by the massive number of bunkers. I think that number over 300 on this course, and a few of the holes have the famous church pew bunkers. I think holes 3 and 4 are going to face those pew bunkers going back and forth, and there's one on the backside that also has a whole array of bunkers. And the other amazing hole that I read about is the number 8 hole. The 8th hole is a par 3, almost
298, I think.
308.
298.
Yeah, and they might stretch it to like 320. They said they're going to probably stretch it to maybe 320 on Sunday, and it'll be longer than one of the par 4s. A short par 4 on the backside that'll probably be less in yardage than this par 3 on Sunday, maybe if they stretch it out from the tees to the back of the green. But
driver
anyway,
of wood for most people. Some people.
What's that?
A driver of wood.
Yeah, probably a hybrid
even
for most these guys.
For the professionals.
So that's a little bit about the course. As far as the play, we'll go right into predictions.
Before you go to the players, there's a couple of things I wanted to drop. 2 nuggets that I read during my research. One is it is the brainchild of, and I was listening to the Gary Williams podcast, the Fight Club's one that we listened to, of Henry Fonz. That's the brainchild. And with his design philosophy was a shot poorly played should be a shot irrevocably lost. It's like a Gillette multiplied by 20, I think. But anyway, and then the other thing is that there was also another thing that I heard, that this is probably one of the most difficult courses, and I think it's going to be a tough one. So let's quickly get down to it's golf's toughest test that you mentioned. Let's quickly get down to the favorites, your favorites, and then maybe pick 2 very quickly, and then I'll pick 2 quickly. I know we are hard pressed for time today, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's basically. I mean, it's no surprise. It comes down to, I think here, Scottie and Bryson versus the field. I think. I mean, that's, I think, everyone's favorites. We might have the same two favorites. I don't know if you're gonna pick someone else. You're welcome to pick the same ones. They're Scottie is, they said, actually the biggest favorite at, I think he's at plus 275. Uh, Biggest favorite in a major since the 2009
280. Yep.
year when
You're
Tiger
right.
Woods had
280.
a,
Yep.
so I read that somewhere, that it's just, the way he's playing right now, it's to no surprise. He won at the Memorial, he won the PGA Championship, and then he lapped the field at the Byron, I
PGA.
think Byron Nelson down in Dallas.
Yep.
So he's all of a sudden he's won three tournaments, and we were all wondering if he was, having an off year. He had won nothing up to that CJ Cup that in Dallas, and now he's got three leading into this tournament. So and I think he's in peak form right now. Just the way he's leading right now. His stats I saw for the year: he's number one in driving accuracy. I think number one in shots gained approach, and his putting is top 25. So with those three stats, if he's in the top five in driving, approach, and anywhere in the top 20 in putting, I think he's going to be there on Sunday when it comes down to the final round. So. But that being said, I'm gonna pick Bryson to repeat this year. I'm still amazed by how accurate he is with the length of his drives, hitting these, whatever, 360, 370 yard drives. But he, like in the PGA, his driving was so ridiculously accurate. That wasn't his issue. It was just a little bit of his iron accuracy. And so I think if he gets it out there that far and stays in the fairway, it's going to be just a huge advantage, because anybody who goes in the rough, it's like a one-shot penalty the way the rough is at this tournament. You got to hack it out, they say, on most of the holes. So you got to be ridiculously strong, like a Shane Lowry or some of those guys who are big and strong who can muscle it out of there. Otherwise, forget it. It's a layup. It's a hack out, one-shot penalty essentially. So Bryson's putting is always the X factor. He was not there at the PGA Championship and at the Masters. He was in the final round, I think, of both, and the putting definitely cost him, as did his kind of wedge play, but. I just think with his ability to drive it that far and accurately, I think that's just such a huge advantage at this course. So I'm going to go with Bryson. I think it's going to be a Bryson Scottie final pairing on Sunday, and that'll be just fantastic for TV ratings once again. Slight edge to Bryson, but we'll see how it plays out. Those are my two picks, for favorites. You can pick the
So
same.
Scottie. So you're picking Scottie and Bryson?
Yep, the two favorites. It's hard to pick
Two
against them.
favorites. Yeah. Well, how to pick
someone
against
else.
them? The one thing that concerns me with Bryson would be his, he just wants to bomb every drive. I mean, that's one thing that but he has to be very almost accurate. And you already just talked about like the putting surface there. It's like there's someone players refer to as putting on linoleum. So it's going to be very tough. Yeah, yes, Scottie's the favorite, 280, followed by Bryson 700. I do think that Rory. I mean, he won one, finally broke through that. His talent is obviously undeniable. I think we know what happened in the last year's U.S. Open, where he bogeyed the three of the last four holes. And he's right now the third current favorite. So I think I'll go with like Rory, and the other player I'm going to pick someone who I thought I gave him up for. We gave him up for dead, and I think John Rahm. I think he's actually played well. He came through in the last PGA tournament. So I'm going to go with John Rahm and Rory McIlroy. Um, let's quickly go down to let's pick one, like one sleeper. I mean, again, it's necessarily not an unknown, obviously, but it's a player who, based on the current form, or a past performance, that's why we're picking this dark horse. So who do you think in your dark horse? I have someone in mind, but
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my perennial dark horse. I love watching him play. You probably have an idea who I'm gonna pick here. I'm gonna go with Shane Lowry, someone who's always around.
you stole my guy.
He's
That's
always
okay.
around at the majors, always top 10 in the first few rounds at least, and then Sunday seems like when he kind of falls back. So I don't think he's gonna win it, but he's always right there. He's a big, strong guy, like I alluded to. Can I don't know if he's gonna be able to muscle it out of the rough all the way to the greens, but if he puts his ball into the rough on the drives. He's just got a knack for being on the leaderboard for these majors. Really brings his game. So yeah, sorry if I stole your guy, but you gave me first dibs.
Well, the thing is that he was the tied for second. The last time it was played at Oakmont in 2016, I think that's the one Dustin Johnson won it. So again, his 2025 season actually has been very strong. He's got like four top 10 finishes. Um, let's see. I mean, this is something based on his recent form. I would not put past that guy. So I had a bunch of people that I was thinking about, but I usually go with my guy, Aberg, but this time I'm not going to go. I'm going to go an Englishman. Um, it's interesting because he's had some three top 10 finishes in the past in the U.S. Open, and Tommy Fleetwood is somebody that I'm going to pick. His record in the major has always been very strong. His 2025 season actually has been pretty good. Actually, he's been up with the leaderboard. He actually had four top 10 finishes just in 2025 with no missed cuts. So maybe this game of his will finally break through in this one. I mean, there are others that I considered like Ben Griffin, who's actually been playing lights out, Russ Henley, but I'll go with Tommy Fleetwood. I don't think I considered my other folks like Sai Tagala or Aberg or even like Akshay Bhatia. I didn't consider them at this point. But let's go with Tommy Fleetwood there. So we know that this course it's a par 70 course, 372. What I saw, long par fours, demanding ones, long par threes, as we talked about. And like I said, we talked about the greens. We talked about, I think it was like 200 strategically placed bunkers. So a lot of, they're genuine hazards, right? That's for sure. Um, so there's a lot of things that you have. I think the most iconic was the church pews. That's a massive bunker one with grass covered ridges. Um,
The
you know,
one thing that stuck out too, in watching, I was watching the on the golf channel. They were doing the kind of an aerial drone shot of each hole with the course was redesigned. They said in I think 23 by Gil Hands, and when they did this aerial shot, it was kind of remarkable how there was so very few trees on this course. It's not a very pretty course. Not going to like photograph or come across well on TV as like wow, a signature course. Like I said, it's characterized by its bunkers, its tough greens, and the rough and the narrow fairways, like a typical U.S. Open. But it's not like many of the Northeast courses we see, like Winged Foot or Congressional, where you have just beautiful, tree-lined holes, and it looks more kind of wide open. And they used to, that's how it was initially built, so it was kind of restored back to that flavor. But like you said, it's a demanding test that'll punish you for any errant shots.
okay, I do have like one trivia for you because I know you have like 3 or 4 minutes before. So the last three winners for in the Oakmont, at least just for the Oakmont. So the last three ones happened in 1994, 2007, and 2016. We already talked about Dustin Johnson as one of the winners. So who are the other two winners? One was in 1994, the other was in 2007.
Well,
And I'll give you a hint. Both of them are not Americans.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I did read up a little bit, so I know the 2007 one. That's my that Angel Cabrera, who
Right.
he might be wearing an orange jumpsuit on the course. He just got out of prison, I believe. I forget if it was I forget what the transgression was. He's yes, just recently released. He was 2007, as you said, and then going back
1994.
four. Not that one. I did not read up on. I got to 1994. Give me a country, and then maybe I'll be able to go.
Oh, that would be easy, but I will give you one more thing though. So he did. It was a playoff. He did have a victory over. Again, I didn't know the answer, but I just found the stat. He did beat Lauren Roberts and our good old friend Colin Montgomery. And this guy was from South Africa.
Oh, so it's going to be probably Ernie Els then, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah, I
Ernie
would say
Els.
Ernie Els over Tief Goosen. They've each won U.S. Opens, I believe, but I think Ernie
Yep.
Els, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I got one more uh, stat for you. Who's got the most U.S. Open victories? And Jack is one, yes. And then I think I'll give you a difficult one, and you pick the other two. So I'll give you Jack, Willie Anderson, whom I don't know. Then there's Bobby Jones Jr., and there's one more older player.
Ben Hogan.
You got it.
Yeah.
Wow, you're like on a fire today.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. So we know that there's like the longest par 3, that's 8th hole, and then you also have another one of the longest par 5, which is a 12th hole, which measures a monstrous 684 yards.
Wow.
I think that's the one. Oh my God!
So that's a wedge for those guys.
Yeah. So there's one more thing that I want to give you before. Did you know this? No left-hander has won. I think. Right? I think the only person who came close was Phil Mickelson and Winged Foot. So no left-hand winner has won the U.S. Open.
Yeah, Phil's had a numerous runner-ups, the most runner-ups of anyone.
Yes, he did.
I don't know how many,
He did.
5 or 6, but yeah.
Yes, with 6.
Yeah.
Right. Most runner-up finishes was 6.
Well,
yeah. So
yeah,
I think, that's where we are, guys. And I think, I know Dan's short for time. He's got his pickle thing. I think, is a playoff. Is it a playoff?
No, just open play, recreational.
Open play. Yep. Open play. Yep. So with that, we we kind of wrap it up, and then I'm going to let Dan go, and I'll just wrap up at the tail end, and then have a good night, Dan.
All right, see you guys later. Enjoy.
You too. Thank you. So just going back to what we're just talking about in terms of that. Obviously, we talked about Scheffler, DeChambeau, Rory, and John Rahm, and we also picked some of the sleepers as well. But this is going to be a great storyline. Can Scottie Scheffler continue his extraordinary run? I think a victory at Oakmont would definitely add not only another major to his resume, but it solidifies that this is indeed the Scheffler era. So it's going to be interesting because I'm so interested to watch this. You have a dominant player coming in at a historically difficult course. It's a fascinating dynamic. Yeah, like we talked about, this course has bunkers, long holes. You got tough greens, narrow fairways. So it's going to be really fun watching all these players and see who can come up on top. So with that, we wrap it up. Thanks again, Dan, always for joining. And we look forward to some recaps every day. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.